Hello, Francis. I had a question about forgiveness. About forgiveness? A question about forgiveness?
Forgiveness, yes.
So when I tend to do forgiveness, it feels like I am forgiving someone. But then now I realize that there is no entity inside to, that I can forgive someone. It feels like it's just a release of some tension about a belief.
Yes. I can clarify that. You are on the right track. I can clarify that. Try to clarify that a little more. Because we cannot truly forgive others unless we forgive ourselves. That's the first step. And we cannot forgive ourselves through an act of will, through a decision. You are not like a judge, okay, you don't go to jail this time. That's a decision of the judge, right? But we cannot do that. The only way we can forgive ourselves is through understanding. And here is what we can understand. We can understand that we don't choose our thoughts. We can understand that experientially for two reasons. First, we don't really know what our next thought is going to be before it arrives, right?
Right.
It just arrives, like the weather. It's just in hindsight that we pretend that we knew which thought was coming, and that we decided, yes, I'm choosing this thought. But that's not how it happens. It just happens, right? So, once we understand, I don't choose my thoughts, we understand that our decisions, they are a subcategory of the thoughts. Let's do this. Yeah, I think, should I do this or do that or do this? Okay, let's do this. All of that are thoughts. We don't choose them. We don't choose our decision. If we don't choose our decision, we are not guilty. But so by understanding that we are not guilty, we forgive ourselves, right? That's what it means. Not guilty. Forgiven, right? Not guilty. So we understand. But the moment we are able to forgive ourselves, we understand that it is the same for other people. They don't choose their thoughts either. They don't choose their decisions. So just as you see yourself as not guilty, you see others as not guilty. They are the same as you. So everybody is, you see the fundamental innocence of all beings. You see, that's what you see in wisdom. Now, it doesn't mean that if you have a murderer, society is not entitled to put it out of the traffic, so to speak. Right? Because society has a right to protect itself. But it doesn't change anything to the fact that there is nobody guilty here or there. So the forgiving or the forgiveness is universal. You know, so that's why in the Quran they say one of the 100 names of God is the merciful, right? But it's not that really God, mercy is a universal quality of wisdom and of understanding. And it doesn't mean either that we are not responsible, but guilt belongs to the past actions. We have to consider all past actions as being acts of God. God did it, whatever that was. But in the now, we are responsible for God's past actions, because we are an instrument as a body-mind. The body-mind is an instrument that is at the service of truth, love, beauty. So it doesn't mean that although when you have insulted someone in the past, and that you are not guilty for the insult, that in the now you are not responsible to go to this person and say, I'm sorry. Depending on the level of understanding, you're not going to tell them, I'm sorry because God insulted you yesterday. No, that wouldn't be a good idea, right? Any more than if the cop stops you for speeding, you know, excuse me, officer, but it was just God speeding. No, not a good idea. But you see, so real forgiveness comes from this understanding, this intelligence that nobody is guilty, I am not guilty, universal forgiving. And it doesn't mean we are not responsible in the now. And the past, who cares? You see, only in ignorance we held grudges against people. It doesn't mean that we are not aware of some patterns in people, some behaviors, that if someone has screwed us financially once, you know, then they come back and they ask you for one more loan, and tell them, sorry, but you didn't pay back the first one, and now you're asking for a second one, you know. But they are not guilty. That's how they are. There is a form of being pretentious, you know, to say, oh, I forgive you, you know, like, you know, I bestow upon you the grace of my forgiving, you know. Not very natural.
But what I have also noticed is when I'm doing this forgiveness thing, so-called a lot of thoughts start coming up, you know, all those, he did this, she did this, and all of that. Or if it's, say, one particular person I'm holding something against.
Yeah, replace he with God. And later on, replace God with I. Or if you want to be on the direct path, replace he with I. I did that to myself. So what do I do now? Then there is a moment of creativity, and there is going to be a very different response if we, instead of thinking, he did that to me, I said, I did that to myself. What do I do now? Perhaps you are still going to punch the guy in the face. We don't know what you are going to do, you know. Sometimes he deserves it.
It gets a little tricky with family members.
With
family members. It gets a little tricky.
Oh yes, they are the trickiest ones.
And now I do when I sit and I'm like I see that they are the same being, but their actions sometimes really makes you cry, or it makes you feel that they've betrayed your trust.
Be ready to be betrayed by people. It's part of the learning curve. You cannot trust people. You can trust the truth in people. And don't worry too much about the extended family also.
It's not extended
Okay.
family.
I say that just in case you were Indian. Our parents are not perfect, and we have to be clear-eyed and see the ignorance in them. And sometimes it's hard to swallow because we are disappointed. But we grow in wisdom from this being clear-eyed. And that gives us the ability also to forgive. To forgive doesn't mean to be blind. But to forgive means to understand also the blindness in others. To see it, and to understand in spite of that, the innocence. So the moment we see the danger, if we have to walk through a room in the darkness and we know there is a snake, it's very difficult. But if we switch on the light, if the room is big enough, it's not a problem, right? So it's the same, as long as we are not clear about people, they can trigger suffering in us. But the moment we have this clarity, then, and at some point you are no longer the little girl. At some point you see them as little children. We become the parents of our children. Because the real maturity is in wisdom. It's not in the age of the body. Most people are children. In ignorance, they don't know better. We have to accept that. You'll survive. Life is beautiful. Great adventure.
Thank you.